Thank you, Your Excellencies, friends, distinguished guests, and welcome to the 2022 IVI State Forum. Before we begin, I'd like to express my gratitude to you all and our apologies. We're very thankful for all of you to make time to visit us during this very busy month of diplomatic events within Korea. And we'd also like to extend an apology to our guests and ambassadors sitting in the observer seats. We realize they're not the most ideal situation. Sometimes the work of diplomacy puts us in awkward situations, so we appreciate your flexibility and kindness. Thank you. Today we're going to begin with welcome remarks by George Bickerstaff, the chairman of the IVI Board of Trustees. And George, would you like to come up to the podium?
Thanks, Colin. I appreciate it. And I'd like to welcome Excellencies for coming here. There's a lot of you in the room. You've come from all over the world, from the US, from France, from Argentina, representing Argentina. It's highly appreciated. Now, this is our 25th State Forum. The State Forum is when we bring together many countries and representatives. And you've been a big part of the IVI success, which I'll try to describe. But what happened 3 years ago shocked all of us. It was when this little bug popped up called COVID-19. And COVID-19 infected 600 million people, and it killed 6 million. And I want you to remember that number. So all of COVID for the last 3 years killed 6 million people. So it's a big deal. We all activated. The diplomats got involved, you guys, and the scientists got involved, the countries got involved. And since that happened 3 years ago, there have been 11 new vaccines approved. There have been 13 billion with the B, 13 billion. There's only like 7 billion, 8 billion people in the world. 13 billion doses have been given of the different COVID vaccines. 5 billion people have been vaccinated, which is quite amazing. So IVI understands infectious disease, and all of us learned in the last 3 years that infectious diseases are bad, and they can kill a lot of people. Except we forget about some of the infectious diseases that have been here for a long time. We think about COVID like that was the bad thing. But there's diarrheal diseases, things like cholera, typhoid, salmonella. There's things like tropical diseases, probably a lot of us know of. Oh, by the way, tropical diseases kill 10 million people a year. COVID killed 6 million, and it activated all of us. Tropical diseases kill 10 million people a year, 1.5 times as much, almost 2. So it's quite something. The world's now attuned to vaccines, to the criticality of vaccines to infectious disease. Now, IVI was formed 25 years ago, which is why this is our 25th anniversary. It's a big deal. We have a celebration later today. And when we were formed, it was as part of the United Nations under the UNDP. At that time, 33 countries had signed up. I'm not sure they all knew what they're getting into. Some of them were you, but they signed up for this. And over the course of the last 25 years, we made some good progress. We invented, co-developed a oral cholera vaccine, which is the most widely used vaccine for cholera. That's extraordinary. And we did that for less than $30 million. We are also developing a typhoid conjugate right now, which will be out soon, also for less than $30 million. This is in partnership with all you. It's quite extraordinary. In Big Pharma, it's hundreds of millions of dollars, but because of the partnership and the relationships, we're able to do the same thing collectively for a fraction of the price. Now, it took us a little while to get going. We didn't get going very quick. We've been here 25 years, and some people would say, well, 25 years, you only did like 2 vaccines. There's a third one in the pipeline, very close. But the key is we're now picking up speed. We've accelerated development. We accelerated our partnerships. We're now at, I believe, 40 countries that have come in, most of them in the additional in the last 2 years. We've added this year the United Arab Emirates, or Rwanda, Spain, our brand new signatory countries, which is wonderful. And 2 other countries that were part of the 33 that signed up to begin with have re-upped, and that's Thailand and Panama. And that's great. So people are joining, they're getting much more engaged, and that makes us really happy. But if this is going to really work, if we save those 10 million lives, in addition to whatever else comes up, we're going to need to continue what we're doing now. We're going to need to double down on the efforts, the partnerships, the relationships. And this is going to require 2 things. It's going to require great scientists, and it's going to create great diplomats, because these are hard problems to solve. But we have a bunch of like-minded people going after a huge cause, and we'll fix it. It's going to take some more time. I appreciate all your support. The team appreciates your support. They're working real hard. We know you had other better things to probably be doing than be here, but you're highly appreciated. And we look forward to working with you over the next 25 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you, George. At this time, we would like to invite Dr. Jerome Kim, the Director General of IVI, to deliver his opening remarks.
Thank you, Colin. I'll deliver them here from the floor.
Sure.
Good afternoon, members of the IVI State Forum. It's a great pleasure to welcome you to the State Forum this year, in part because this is the 25th year of IVI's existence, but also because this has been a year in which significant milestones have been reached. IVI is now larger in size and funding than it has ever been. New country partners are being added. We've opened the first regional office in Stockholm, the first IVI collaborating centers, and have had the pleasure of hosting fellows from different IVI partners as a part of the ICC program. We've added a second approved vaccine, typhoid conjugate vaccine, to our portfolio, and have continued to develop and technology transfer global health vaccines to manufacturing partners around the world. IVI has embarked on a new era of capacity building. The vaccinology course has had its 21st successful iteration, and the new Global Training Hub for Biomanufacturing has had a successful launch, with a second course starting in less than a week. In response to last year's discussion at the State Forum, where there was significant support for an assembly of states, we are this year proposing a global council, and will hear the comments from our member states, as well as the distinguished health, global health, and foreign affairs leaders who form IVI's Global Advisory Group of Experts, or GAGE. I hope that you'll have the opportunity to meet and speak with them. In the establishment of a more robust mechanism for member state representation, we've added 2 non-funding state representatives, Rwanda and Ecuador, to the Board of Trustees. In future years, these representatives will be selected by the Global Council. We hope that the recommendations and discussion from the future Global Council will make IVI more responsive to the needs and concerns of its member states, or as our 2022 to 2026 strategy says, we will future-proof governance, a cooperative model of capacity building, technology transfer, and infrastructure support for vaccine research and development that can only be accomplished if we work together. Thank you for attending this year's State Forum. We hope that these productive discussions will result in impact, in capacity, vaccine research and development, vaccine production, and implementation, leading importantly to beneficial impact, allowing people everywhere to lead full and productive lives free from the threat of vaccine-preventable diseases. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerome. At this time, we would like to invite Ms. Young-Mi Cho, the head of IVI's Global Affairs and Communications Unit, to make a presentation on the proposed IVI Global Council.
Good evening, Excellencies and supporters and friends of IVI. And my name is Young-Mi Cho, and some of you are familiar with me and Colleen and the whole team, because we started this State Forum in 2018, and then it's already marks 50 years. Yeah, so great to see, you know, our friends who are coming and who are becoming also strong supporters of IVI. this year, we wanted to present the creation of the Global Council, which is our, assembly. We wish this to be an assembly of our state parties. And this reflects, feedback and recommendation from our state parties who made the recommendation last year's State Forum. So let me, briefly go through about these rules of procedures or terms of reference for, learning this Global Council. And we would like to get your, feedback and advices and guidance how this Global Council should be functioned and, work for the benefits of our state parties. So this is IVI's current governance structure. And you see the IVI Board of Trustees, and this is the highest governing body of IVI. And currently, we have, the representatives from the funding states seats on this board, and also we have a member at large, the private the members of the board. And in May this year, we added 2 representatives from IVI's non-funding state parties, and Ecuador and Rwanda, they have now seats at the IVI board. And this is, kind of transitional. Before we establish the Global Council, we are hoping to establish the council next year, launch it around this time of the next year. The plan is to have this Global Council as one of the advisory committees of IVI, and providing guidance and recommendation and advices to the IVI management and the board. And the main function will be, explained a little later. So the whole goal of the establishing this Global Council is make IVI function as an international organization comprised of its member states. So we wanted to hear voices of our state parties and wanted to, reflect the recommendations in our strategic decisions and move operating the IVI. So here you can see currently IVI has 22 countries and also WHO as parties to the IVI's establishment agreement, which is a treaty. And we have another 19 countries there are signatories, and signatories are needed to complete their ratification process to become a party. So the purpose of this Global Council is make this Global Council to serve as a representative assembly of IVI state parties, and so that IVI can enhance, its role as an international organization. So currently, this State Forum is a kind of informal, like place gathering for the state parties, but we wanted to formalize it as a assembly of our parties. And we want this Global Council to be a platform to discuss the needs and the solutions for the vaccine globally, regionally, and also at the national level. So we can bring up the, all the key agenda, and through pre-discussions, maybe we can set the agenda for the Global Council so that we can conclude, some solutions and responses. And we also want this Global Council to foster global and regional collaborations and capacity building activities. So capacity building over the vaccine manufacturing is one of the most important agenda of these days in pandemic preparedness. So we want IVI to contribute more for capacity building part of the this biomanufacturing training. So the composition, the Global Council will be comprised of the state parties of IVI, so currently 22 countries and WHO. And at the time of the launch next year, we are hoping to have more members to join this group. And we would like to request the signatories and observing country representative here today to, start progress for that. And we expect each state to designate their representative to the Global Council, and one representative and alternate designated by each party. And qualifications, we are expecting to have someone with administrative capability, expertise, and substantial experience in public health, diplomacy, governance, and or vaccine science, if possible. So which means that your government can designate anyone, who are deemed to qualified for this position. And we expect at least 1 week prior to the GC meeting, we get the notification of the names and titles of the representative. And terms of office can be determined by each state party because it's your designation. And for the observers, we hope to receive some major, IVI donors, including like Gates Foundation and CEPI and Wellcome Trust, etc. And also, we expect multilateral and non-state entities, so other, international organizations also could join as an observers, and prospective states, including IVI signatory states and potential state parties, can join the meeting as an observer. And for presidency, we hope this president and vice president shall be elected from among all GC members. So any state party can have their candidates for president and vice president. And also, role of the president is preside over the GC meeting and, of course, the craft effective GC agenda. So we will discuss further, the format of the GC meeting, how long it may need to take and what agenda setting and etc. So we'll be ready before the next year, how we are, operating these GC meetings. And the term of office of the president and vice president, we are proposing 2 years and until their successors are elected. So every 2 years, there will be election at the GC meeting and regarding the principle of electing the president and vice president, I will put you on the discussion item. And so each state party, like a president and vice president, when they cease to be able to carry out their functions, then the position will be filled by a successor appointed by the state party of the president or vice president until the remainder of the term of his or her predecessors. And IVI Director General and the Global Affairs team will join as a secretariat, and we would not have a right to vote for any significant decisions. So responsibilities, main responsibilities is representation on the IVI Board of Trustees. So by electing 2 representatives among the non-funding state parties, so there will be election among non-funding state parties, and then also funding parties can appoint their representative, and then they can inform to the Global Council, so that Global Council informed the board for the designation of the country representative on the board. And second, we will put IVI strategy and the key activities and progress as an agenda, and then we will ask you to review our activities and strategy, and then we will seek your feedback and advices. And also, as already discussed, mentioned that in the purpose, we want this Global Council to be a place to discuss the needs for vaccine R&D and also capacity building. So, among the members, we can discuss how we can improve the problems and fill the gap we can identify together. So GC will request a formal response from IVI management and board for their request, and they can invite IVI and other state parties to join their country initiative. So they can present their initiative to the other members of GC and grant observer status. And also we expect our state parties to encourage other countries, non-member countries, to join IVI, to become a state party, and perform other activities which can contribute for the achievement of the IVI's vision, mission, and strategic goals. So procedures, meeting each one time every year, so face-to-face meeting every year, and 1/3 of members present can open sessions. So currently 1/3 is around 8 members can open the session, and then a majority of members, so more than 1/2, shall constitute a quorum. So any key voting or decision making, once we have more than half are gathered together. And alternate designated by the state party shall be permitted to vote. So once a representative cannot join, then you can designate an alternate to join and vote. So decision making by consensus, but a motion calling for a vote when we cannot reach a consensus, and election for presidency and also board representation held by secret ballot, and other voting by show of hands, and decisions shall be made by a majority of members present and voting. So for the financial arrangement, we will support travel expenses from representatives from the GC members from the least developed countries, and a written GC minutes report will be shared with the IVI board and management for response, and the president of GC can attend the board as an observer. And amendment of these rules of procedure can be by majority of GC members present and voting. So request to our state parties, we would like to ask you to review these rules of procedures and give us feedback about the better way of operating this GC, and then designate your country representative to IVI GC. And request to our observers, signatories, and prospective state parties to complete ratification and join as a member state party of IVI, and to join this club, Global Council. So we will be seeking your feedback until next February, and then from March we will send an official invitation for your designation of your representative. And once we finalize rules of this procedure of the GC, we launch the IVI Global Council officially in October 2023, next year, around this time. So for your questions and the discussions, we'd like to put 3 questions here. One is, current composition suggests that state parties are the members of GC, and there's some opinions that may be good to add like donors or other prospective, countries or IOs as a member. But we'd like to seek your feedback. And regarding the presidency, we now suggest 2 years term of office. And we wanted to hear from you whether you're suggesting 2 years or 1 year every time, like a turnover of the presidency each year. And also, if the election is made, then the term of the presidency, if we adopt geographical categorization, then equitable, geographical rotation, which way will guarantee this equitable geographical rotation? For example, we can divide into, our state parties into two groups, like Asia and non-Asia, and then the rotate presidency. Or we can divide into like 5 regions, like Africa, Asia, Europe, Middle East, Central, South America. So we wanted to hear your feedback on that. And then the board membership representation also, we expect at least one member can be elected among the low and middle income countries. Then is there any recommended nomination practice for this LMIC state parties to be elected as a representative to the board? So these are our questions, and we would like to seek your feedback and responses for that.
Thank you, Youngmi. At this time, we will begin the portion of the event where we invite the state party representatives here today to offer their remarks to the gathered State Forum and to the IVI leadership here today. Today's remarks will go in alphabetical order, and today we begin with Bangladesh. We invite His Excellency Mohammed Delwar Hossain, Ambassador of Bangladesh, to deliver his remarks. And you may deliver your remarks from your desk or from the podium. It's your choice.
Okay, thank you very much. I would like to do it from my seat. Mr. George Bickerstaff, Chairperson of the IVI Board of Trustees, Dr. Jerome Kim, Director General of the International Vaccine Institute, distinguished experts, representatives of the state parties, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon to everyone. It is my honor and pleasure to represent Bangladesh at the 2022 IVI State Forum this afternoon. At the very outset, I would like to extend my thanks and appreciation to the IVI for arranging this event and providing me with an opportunity to share our thoughts. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Bangladesh joined the International Vaccine Institute with the spirit of cooperation and a shared vision of a world free of infectious disease. Bangladesh has been closely working with the IVI for last 20 years in diverse areas of vaccination. With the cooperation of the IVI, Bangladesh has been able to produce vaccines for some infectious diseases domestically and contain virus-borne communicable diseases in the country to a large extent. Bangladesh, with an advanced pharmaceutical sector and a long experience in immunization program, seeks to play a significant role in addressing public health issues around the globe. In line with our commitment to the principle of the universal access to vaccine at affordable cost, we have undertaken some projects and initiatives to enhance our vaccine production capability. Bangladesh is keen to engage in deeper collaboration with the IVI and other international partners in vaccine design, development, production, and distribution for our common benefit. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, this year marks the 25th anniversary of the establishment of the IVI. On this milestone occasion, I express heartiest congratulations and deep appreciation to the IVI. I wish to recognize the unflinching commitment and accomplishments of the institution in the preceding years. I firmly believe that the IVI will continue to thrive as a leading vaccine center in the coming years and contribute to global public health with vaccine research and development. I am thankful to IVI team for sharing detailed information on the IVI Global Council. I hope the new mechanism would play a crucial role in the accomplishment of the goals and objectives of IVI. I wish this forum a grand success. Thank you all for the kind attention.
Thank you, Ambassador Hossein. At this time, we'll turn to Zoom, where we are joined by Mr. Julio Cesar de Jesus, the First Secretary of the Embassy of Brazil. Julio, can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It is a pleasure to take part in this 2022 IVI State Forum. Brazil believes that the Institute can play a significant role in advancing capacities in a more geographically balanced and sustainable way, providing national health systems with the necessary capillarity. The strengthening of research and development, innovation, and industrial production capacity is directly related to the efficiency of vaccination programs in developing countries. Brazil suggests that further engagement of IVI members in training, case studies, discussions, preparation of guidelines, and other activities aiming at sharing information and improving national experiences. The design of courses or other information sharing methodologies shall be guided by the clear identification of the needs of the member states. Please allow me to identify some priority areas for action. Best practices and project management involving technology transfer, application of artificial intelligence in the development of biological processes, quality attributes, scale up, commissioning in starting factory, equipment qualification, process validation, sustainability of vaccine-related input supply chains, and regulatory convergence. Regarding leptospirosis, it is to be noted that this disease depends on social determinants and environmental conditions, affecting mainly poor populations. Leptospirosis is a disease of high lethality with huge economic impact. Its prevention and control are very challenging. Therefore, leptospirosis can be considered as a neglected tropical disease. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Julio. As China abstains, we now invite His Excellency Carlos Eduardo Emanuel Moran, Ambassador Designate of Ecuador, to deliver his remarks.
Dr. Jerome Kim, Director General of the International Vaccine Institute, George Bickerstaff, Chairperson of the IVI Board of Trustees, Excellencies and representatives of states parties of the IVI, authorities and representatives of the Institute of Vaccine, friends all. It is an honor for me to address all of you, being this my first participation as representative of Ecuador before the Institute of Vaccine. On its 25th anniversary of productive and successful work of the welfare of humanity. I want to reconfirm the outstanding relations between IVI and Ecuador since 1998 that resulted in important projects and are a common vision of improving the quality of life and global health. I also take this opportunity to celebrate the important agreements between Ecuador and IVI and the relevant high-level official visits during this year, such as the Foreign Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ecuador, His Excellency Luis Gallegos in 2020, and the Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs, His Excellency Cesar Montaño, in 2021. I have also the privilege to announce that in 2023, an official visit of the President of Ecuador, His Excellency Guillermo Lasso, will take place, during which I expect a visit to the IVI headquarters could be made. It was with great satisfaction that Ecuador has obtained a position in the Board of Trustees of the IVI in April 2022, being this the first time that my country has obtained such high-ranked position, which is worthily represented by Dr. Jimena Garzón, former Minister of Public Health of Ecuador. I thank the IVI for the academic project that it carries out with Ecuadorian universities, such as the vaccine project with San Francisco University in Quito. Subsequently, we will also be initiating new alliances with other Ecuadorian universities, as it is the case of a similar project with the Espiritu Santo University in Guayaquil, expected to be in place soon. And last but not less important, I would like to express our total support from Ecuador to the initiative to establish the Global Council of IVI, for which you have our full commitment. Thank you all for your kind attention, and I reiterate my sincere congratulations on the 25th anniversary of IVI and our sincere wishes for more years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. At this time, we invite Surinder Bhagat, Deputy Chief of Mission of the Embassy of India, to deliver his remarks.
Thank you, Colin. Chairperson George Bickerstaff of IVI Board of Trustees, Dr. Jerome, DG IVI, representatives from IVI State Parties, ambassadors and members of Diplomatic Corps. I'm honored to be here to participate in this IVI State Forum, to introduce Global Council, and we have seen the detailed presentation made by Yongmi explaining the role, structure, composition of this new council, and also I'm thankful to IVI for giving us an opportunity to share our feedback on this council. India's association with IVI dates back to 2007. In May 2012, India became State Party of IVI. Later in 2017, India became third state funder of IVI and started contributing towards vaccine research and development. India and IVI enjoys close collaboration on various projects, including disease surveillance, vaccine campaigns, and evaluation and economic assessment of vaccines for several infectious diseases, including cholera and typhoid. India has also signed tripartite MOU with the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare Affairs, Government of India, and India's state-of-the-art health research institute called Indian Council for Medical Research in 2017. This tripartite agreement has been recently extended for another term of 3 years. Since signing of this MOU, mutual partnership between India and IVI has advanced further to include collaboration in multi-country clinical trials, effectiveness studies of Indian-made vaccines for global use, health economic studies to support India's vaccine policy actions, and partnership for vaccine capacity building and training programs. I'm delighted to inform you that both ICMR and IVI have agreed to establish a Center for Vaccine Research, which will help us to develop joint proposals for vaccine research and capability building programs. India has been a willing partner to collaborate with IVI to enhance our preparedness to deal with the current and future challenges, including in combating with COVID-19 pandemic and other diseases. India strongly believes in taking collective action to combat global health issues. In this regard, the Indian Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, has outlined India's vision of One Earth, One Health, which is aimed at collaborative approach in the international domain in fight against global challenges like COVID-19. This includes collaboration in R&D and developing mechanisms to cope with future pandemics and global health issues. The idea of establishing Global Council by IVI is a welcome step, and I think it was need of the hour. IVI Global Council will provide a valuable platform to both funding and non-funding member states to discuss on emerging health requirements. It will also make IVI robust in terms of its structure and align it with other international organizations. The Council will ensure that the decision-making process is more effective, inclusive, and focused on building bridges through vaccine diplomacy. This will also assist IVI to achieve its stated mission to discover, develop, and deliver safe, effective, and affordable vaccines for global public health. India will be a willing partner in IVI's quest to achieve this objective and look forward to making positive contributions in the Global Council. Assuring that India will remain an active and enthusiastic partner of IVI in its future endeavors, I would like to thank IVI for organizing this forum and giving me an opportunity to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Surinder. At this time, we would like to invite His Excellency Zakaria Hamad Halal Al Saadi, the Ambassador of Oman, to deliver his remarks.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency George Bickerstaff, Chairperson of IVI Board of Trustee, Your Excellency Jerome Kim, the Director General of IVI, Your Excellency Ambassador, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad to attend IVI State Forum today. Oman has been a state party of IVI since the year of 2000, and we share IVI commitment to the world free from the plight of infectious disease. We congratulate IVI on the 25th anniversary of its foundation and appreciate its development of vaccine for diseases like cholera and typhoid. We wish IVI continuous success in its endeavor. Oman Health Strategy is guided by Health Vision 2040, which has identified the need to establish vaccine production in Oman and strengthen the disease burden research capacity of the National Health Research System. During the 2021 IVI State Forum, the Minister of Health of the Sultanate of Oman welcomed collaboration with the IVI, particularly in the vaccine against rotavirus, HIV, and hepatitis A. We also welcome joint activities in the research and development of vaccine disease burden studies. Oman healthcare professionals are also eager to participate and collaborate with IVI capacity building training program. Oman welcome the establishment of the IVI Global Council. We hope that Oman participation in the Global Council will facilitate a new vaccine R&D and disease burden research program between IVI and Oman and improve IVI's functionality as international organization. I hope through this forum, IVI could establish more effective IVI Global Council for the health of mankind. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Al Saadi. At this time, we are joined on Zoom by the Deputy Head of Mission of the Embassy of Pakistan, Ali Waqas Malik. Ali?
Yeah, thank you very much. Our distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me immense pleasure to participate in the 2022 IVI State Forum. At the outset, let me congratulate IVI on 25th anniversary of its establishment. Pakistan highly values its partnership with IVI and appreciates its role in advancing vaccine research and development, and as well as capacity building of developing countries like Pakistan for manufacturing of safe, effective, and affordable vaccines. In its partnership with IVI, Pakistan has greatly benefited from IVI's capacity building initiatives like its annual vaccinology course. Excellencies, the world is passing through one of the most challenging times in history of the mankind. The ongoing COVID-19 pandemic has deepened the global north-south divide. The world we are living in is marked by vaccine nationalism and vaccine inequity. Sadly, the death toll from COVID-19 is still 4 times higher in lower income countries as compared to the developed world. The 2/3 of the countries are yet to meet target of vaccinating 70% of their public against COVID-19, a target that was set a year ago at the UN General Assembly. At the current rate, it would take almost 2.5 years to reach that target. Excellencies, in these difficult times, thanks to the generous bilateral donations, the COVAX facility, as well as the efforts of the international institutions like IVI, some developing countries like Pakistan have achieved visible progress on the immunization rate against the COVID-19. However, much is still needed to be done to reverse the damage COVID-19 pandemic has caused to the routine immunization particularly in the developing countries. Sadly, the pandemic led to an unprecedented rise in the number of zero-dose children from 9.3 million to the 12.5 million already. In the end, let me reiterate that without addressing the global north-south divide marked by the vaccine nationalism and vaccine inequity, a real end to the COVID-19 pandemic is not in sight, and we believe that IVI has an important role to play in this regard. Pakistan remains fully committed to engage with International Vaccine Institute as well as other key regional and international stakeholders in promotion of the universal access to vaccines and global vaccine equity. I thank you.
Thank you, Ali. At this time, we would like to invite Juan Jose Plasencia, Minister Counselor of the Embassy of Peru, to deliver his remarks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman of the Board, Mr. Director General, dear ambassadors, colleagues, diplomats present here in this. I want to thank IVI for this kind of invitation to participate in the 2022 IVI State Forum. On behalf of the government of Peru, I will express my sincere congratulations of the work that IVI has been developing these last years, and most of all in these during times of pandemic. Peru has signed the establishment agreement of IVI in 1997, and since then Peru has been working closely with IVI in developing new projects in R&D and process of phase 1, 2, and 3 of stage in investigating in vaccines. As a matter of fact, the Embassy of Peru here in Korea has closely worked with IVI in different coordinations in order to look for new ways of cooperation in vaccine area. As you may know, Peru has been hardly hit by the pandemic. We have been one of the most hit countries with this difficult pandemic of COVID-19. But the process of vaccination in Peru was proved to be successful. We reached almost 89% of second doses average in all the population, and this has proved to be effective in order to fight this against this terrible situation in the world. In regard to the Global Council formation, I want to thank this important presentation that has been made here today. I'm sure that this will be obviously informed to my government. I'm sure the government of Peru will fully support this establishment of the Global Council, because it will help the IVI in order to make most and better decisions to enhance the investigation in vaccine development. Finally, I would like to congratulate IVI for the 25 years of establishment, and I will wish that continue his very important job in vaccine development for all the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Juan. At this time, we would like to invite Her Excellency Maria Teresa Dizon de Vega, Ambassador of the Philippines.
Thank you very much. IVI Chairperson, Mr. George Bickerstaff, IVI Director General Dr. Jerome Kim, Excellencies, distinguished delegates and experts. It is an honor to join you today at the IVI's State Forum on its 25th year. The Philippines takes this opportunity to reaffirm its commitment and support to IVI as its work across the globe aligns with our own actions within the broader context of our global fight against the COVID-19 pandemic and securing more responsive public health systems in Southeast Asia. We are honored to be of assistance to the IVI in these undertakings. In 2021, with IVI, we undertook joint efforts to secure the Philippines' approval for the phase 3 trials of the GBP 513 vaccine in 2022. Excellencies, our priorities in health and security remain the same. We wish to ensure that we can secure immediate access to effective vaccines during outbreaks of emerging and re-emerging infections and continue working towards building capabilities to locally manufacture vaccines in a cost-efficient way. These remain high on our agenda as a priority for the Philippines to achieve socio-economic growth amidst the post-pandemic recovery. we look forward to and request the interest of like-minded partners and friends in the international community on our country's current project on vaccine self-reliance and the establishment of the Virology and Vaccine Institute of the Philippines. We look forward to collaborating with IVI in filling the gaps as we address these development issues through a stronger institutional arm that can help create and enforce policies that will ensure equitable and immediate access to vaccines for emerging and re-emerging infections, especially for countries that have no capability for vaccine manufacturing, assist in a platform for exchange of scientific and other social information relevant to vaccine development and access, and serve as a platform or conduit for bilateral or multilateral sharing of resources and expertise for research, capacity building, and access to vaccines. Having the IVI as a partner towards the goal of vaccine self-sufficiency and to continue utilizing the Institute's extensive experience in end-to-end vaccine development and manufacturing. Collaborating with the IVI and tapping into its wealth of experts and networks for capacity building of our relevant human resources and explore avenues of partnership directly with our local pharmaceutical companies who have expressed interest in local vaccine development. As we have previously conveyed, the Philippines likewise welcomes the establishment of an empowered member states council or assembly to govern the IVI and facilitate equitable vaccine access that may require legally binding commitments. We likewise look forward to more participative governance and better opportunities for member states to raise their concerns, exchange ideas, identify solutions, and address policy needs, especially for issues that directly concern member states. Once again, we wish IVI another productive 25 years ahead. Thank you very much, Excellencies.
Thank you, Ambassador De Vega. At this time, we would like to invite Ju Young Kang, Director General of the International Organization Bureau of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Korea.
Thank you very much. Since this is the first time that I am attending an IVI meeting, I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm the Director General of the International Organization Bureau here at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank Chairperson George Bickerstaff, as well as the Director General Jerome Kim, for their very strong leadership and commitment in strengthening IVI over the years, and we definitely see the outcome of their efforts today. As a host country of IVI, the Korean government has been extremely committed to strengthen the work of the IVI over the years, and especially during the times of COVID, where, as we all know, and as many of you mentioned today, the need for vaccines was critical in addressing and putting an end to COVID-19. Again, we have seen the critical importance of vaccines as well as the role of IVI, and for that very reason, we think there is great value in working together to further strengthening the role of IVI, especially as we make, as the international community is making efforts to further strengthening the global health architecture. We particularly welcome IVI's contributions to building the capacity of other countries in manufacturing and disseminating vaccines. And to this end, we welcome IVI's plan to establish the Global Council by October 2023, and Korea will remain committed in ensuring that IVI will be able to achieve this objective on a timely basis. We thank you for the presentation that was given by IVI on the future work of the Global Council, and we very much welcome it. IVI has asked several questions on the composition, on the presidency, as well as the resolutions. I believe that we could look as a reference to other international organizations and see how we could apply some of those rules to IVI. Korea will definitely we will go back and also have a closer look on some of these other practices of international organizations and get back to IVI on this. But again, we just wanted to take this opportunity to reiterate the Korean government's support for IVI. Thank you very much.
Thank you, DG Kong. At this time, we would like to invite Mr. Claude Ganza, First Counselor of the Embassy of Rwanda, to deliver his remarks.
Thank you. Honorable George Bigstaff, Chairperson of the IVI Board of Trustees, Dr. Jerome Kim, Director General of IVI, distinguished representative of state parties, excellencies, ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. Thank you for inviting Rwanda for the first time in this 2022 State Forum. Would like to congratulate IVI for its 25th anniversary. On behalf of the government of Rwanda, I would like to express our sincere appreciation to the entire leadership of IVI for the excellent collaboration that we have seen during this year that resulted in Rwanda formally becoming an IVI member state on April 1st, 2022. Rwanda applied to join IVI as a commitment to a shared aspiration to contribute to the discovery, the development, and effective delivery of safe, effective, and affordable vaccines for the global public health. Rwanda is also grateful to the IVI Board of Trustees for electing Dr. Leon Mutesa from Rwanda, indeed, to occupy a position on the IVI board. It's important to have African countries joining such partnerships and global collaboration to reach the target of 60% of vaccines used on the continent produced locally by the year 2040. My country, Rwanda, is currently positioning itself together with a few other African member states to develop African capacity for vaccine manufacturing as well as manufacturing of other health commodities. IVI offers great research and development opportunities for vaccines through collaboration with various other international partners around the world. We have heard from previous speakers, indeed, about great initiatives ahead. The Rwandan government is fully committed to tackling the issue of global vaccine inequity, which is particularly affecting the developing countries, including sub-Saharan African countries. And we are looking forward to developing a strong partnership with IVI in pursuit of our shared commitment to ensure access to safe, effective, and affordable vaccines for all. In the recent past, the Rwandan Food, Drug and Drug Authority have demonstrated a high level of commitment and awareness of the critical need to contribute to the noble cause through the very successful clinical trial of Ebola vaccine in collaboration with CEPI, Johnson & Johnson, Emory University through the San Francisco project under the overall coordination of the Rwandan Ministry of Health. And we remain committed to collaborating with IVI to ensure clinical trials benefit the global community. We believe in the opportunity to work with IVI as we endeavor to establish and strengthen R&D ecosystem supporting vaccine manufacturing be initiated in our country, in the region, and on the African continent. We're also keen to work with IVI to strengthen the knowledge of our workforce. In Rwanda, with a very good vaccination coverage over the years, vaccine-preventable diseases reduced tremendously. Therefore, we have been able to reduce children mortality significantly. To conclude, Rwanda pledged a good cooperation and collaboration with IVI and all state parties to reach these common goals. I thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Claude. At this time, we would like to invite Her Excellency Savirti Panapoke, Ambassador of Sri Lanka, to deliver her remarks.
Thank you. Mr. George Bickerstaff, Chairman of the IVI Board of Trustees, Dr. Jerome Kim, Director General, experts, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. I'm honored to participate at the International Vaccine Institute State Forum this year and congratulate them on achieving this important milestone of 25 years of very productive service. As an international organization dedicated for vaccines and vaccination, the contribution made by the IVI for the development of global public health during the past 25 years is truly remarkable. In particular, the crucial role played to make the vaccines available and accessible for the most vulnerable populations in the world is highly commendable. Since signing the IVI established agreement in April 1997, Sri Lanka as a state party has collaborated with the IVI on a number of strategies and projects in line with my country's vision to be free from infectious diseases. Sri Lanka has benefited from several projects from the IVI's assistance, including the Pediatric Dengue Vaccine Initiative, Vaccine Adverse Events Information Management System, and Antimicrobial Resistance Surveillance Program. I wish to express my sincere appreciation to the IVI for its significant contribution for the development of the public health system in Sri Lanka through these projects and initiatives, and look forward to further collaboration in this regard in the future. I'm also pleased to note that a few prominent Sri Lankan researchers and medical professionals are also actively contributing towards the excellent work done by the IVI. Ladies and gentlemen, the world is presently recovering from an unprecedented health crisis in the form of the COVID-19 pandemic. One of the key lessons we have learned from this experience is the importance of international cooperation to address cross-border public health challenges and ensuring safe, effective, affordable, and equitable vaccination for all. The IVI in this regard has made a vital contribution to the work. On a final note, I wish to reaffirm Sri Lanka's fullest support and cooperation to the work done by IVI towards ensuring a healthy world, and have taken due note of the proposal to establish a global council and hope that it will further contribute to the achievements of the IVI and its goals. We thank Ms. Cho for the presentation today and look forward to providing our feedback on the proposal. I thank you once again for the invitation and wish the IVI many years of successful work in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador. At this time, we would like to invite His Excellency Anders Nordstrom, Ambassador for Global Health at the Ministry for Foreign Affairs of Sweden, to deliver his remarks.
Thank you very much. Excellent to see so many colleagues here, protocol observed. I think there will be a message also from our Director General in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs coming slightly later with a message of congratulations now 25 years. But let me say then just that Sweden has been a partner to IVI, I think now for more than 20 years. And we have been delighted with this partnership because it's been a partnership that has generated clear results. It's been a partnership that has evolved over time. We've seen an organization starting, growing, evolving, and is now continuing. Vaccines are one of the most effective public health tools that we have at hand today. I've been working in global health myself for more than 30 years. And what we see now in terms of developing it and having access to new vaccines really makes a huge difference across the world, both for some of the diseases that IVI has been working on, but also if you look across what has happened in the world during the last years, the vaccines, again, hepatitis B, what that meant in China, the rotavirus vaccines that is now available across the world, etc., etc. These are huge opportunities and an important tool in our sort of joint efforts to improve health across the world. We are on our way, hopefully, out of the COVID-19 pandemic. This pandemic has also shown us both how vulnerable we are, but also how important vaccines are, but also how quickly we can, with joint efforts, develop new vaccines and new technologies. But also let us remind ourselves that the COVID-19 pandemic has not only been about the virus and containing the virus and getting access to vaccines. This pandemic has also been access to basic services. And what we see across the world that some countries have and some countries do not have then good, secured access to basic health services. And this has also been an important dimension. So also when implementing vaccination programs across the world, that needs to be part of an integrated health systems effort focusing specifically on primary health care. We also delighted from the Swedish side now that IVI's Board of Trustees have chosen Stockholm as the location for the regional office then for Europe, hopefully not just for Europe, but also as a bridge, especially reaching out to many of the African countries that we are slightly closer to than what you are from here. And we are very much looking forward to this collaboration, and also bringing in Swedish partners from both from life science, from research, and from the government that I'm working with. Congratulations. There is a very important opportunity right now, as the world is really focusing on vaccines in all dimensions. And I believe personally that IVI can play a very important role here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Nordstrom. At this time, we would like to invite Dr. Nakorn Primzi, Director of the National Vaccine Institute of Thailand, to deliver his remarks.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairperson of IVI Board of Trustees, Mr. George Bickerstaff, Dr. Jerome Kim, the Director General of IVI, distinguished representative of the state parties, excellencies, friends and colleagues. On behalf of the representative of Thailand, representative State Party of Thailand, I would like to express our big congratulations to IVI on this special occasion of the 25th anniversary. This demonstrates the great and collective success of IVI on the mission of vaccine development, manufacturing, and deliver of safe, effective, and affordable vaccines to the world, particularly for the neglected tropical diseases such as typhoid and cholera. Thailand has been working with IVI for a period of time. We also work on the cholera, oral cholera vaccine, Shigella vaccine, since 2009 with IVI, and also the dengue incident study, and lead to the dengue vaccine trial, phase 2B and phase 3 in Thailand, with the pediatric dengue vaccine initiative. And currently we also have the study with the single dose effectiveness study of human papilloma virus with the Department of Disease Control in Ministry of Public Health. This is just an example that our work with IVI, but I believe that work of IVI is more than that with our state party and the collaborators. I would like to express our gratitude to the contribution of IVI also on the COVID-19 pandemic period, on the work of vaccine access and vaccine development that IVI jointly working with the vaccine manufacturer. NVI of Thailand and IVI, we also the focal point of ASEAN vaccine security and self-reliance, which is an opportunity that IVI and NVI, and we can work together with our ASEAN member states in partner on vaccine development, aiming for the self-reliance and regional vaccine security. And recently, Thailand also is designated at the ASEAN Center of Public Health Emergency for Emerging Disease on the component of response, which is directly in line with the vaccine development for the emerging disease. This will open the opportunity to collaborate not just for between Thailand and IVI, but this can open the opportunity of collaboration with the state party over here and also the other countries of the world, together with our global partner on the vaccine development. NVI of Thailand and IVI, we are the strategic partner. I strongly believe that with our common goals and objectives, we share the same spirit and passion. For vaccine development, we need passion as well, not just knowledge. We need a passion. And I myself have a long passion on vaccine development since the HIV vaccine study in Thailand, RV144, with our Director General Dr. Jerome Kim, and also Dr. Debbie Burks, who is sitting over here. And then with the passion and together with the strong networking with our global partner, we will have a continuing and fruitful collaboration and mutual success on our task. Ultimately, aiming for vaccine access for all people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Nakorn. At this time, we would like to invite His Excellency Abdullah Saif Al Noaimi, Ambassador of the United Arab Emirates, to deliver his remarks.
Thank you. Your Excellency George Bickerstaff, Chairperson of the IVI Board of Trustees, Your Excellency Dr. Jerome Kim, Director General of IVI, Your Excellencies, colleague ambassador, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is a great pleasure for me to be here today at this forum. In spite of its recent formation, triggered by the need of the combat the COVID-19 pandemic, the IVI have been making remarkable effort toward the achievement of its objectives in the area of global public health and vaccination. As a newly founded international organization, the IVI is in need of the strong mechanism for its to perform its work and activities in synergy with other international organizations. The recent of the Global Council is one of these mechanisms. As a representative of the IVI, the Global Council will help this institute to react swiftly to the global needs for vaccine development and distribution. The objective of the creation of the Global Council are in line with the policy orientation of my country, United Arab Emirates. The UAE's national efforts and international cooperation during the outbreak of the COVID-19 and its accession to the IVI show the country's commitment to the global standard and the delivery of the public health service, including the vaccine to those in need. I wish to renew the UAE's commitment to the activities undertaken by IVI since its formation and to confirm my country's support of the creation of the Global Council. It is my sincere hope that today's forum will succeed in accelerating the process of the creation of the Global Council. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Al Noaimi. And now we would like to ask Dothi Biknok, Counselor of the Embassy of Vietnam, to deliver her remarks.
Thank you. Excellency Mr. George Bickerstaff, Chairperson of IVI Board of Trustees, Dr. Jerome Kim, Director General of IVI, Excellency Ambassador, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Vietnam Embassy in Korea, I would like to congratulate IVI on 25 years of established and development. We are honored to participate in the 2022 IVI State Forum with this special occasions event and important activities of IVI in preparation for 2023 to accelerate vaccine for global health. Experiencing the COVID-19 pandemic, we witnessed the IVI efforts in developing vaccine for global. IVI has contributed to the prevention of the epidemic and connected countries around the world to work together to combat the epidemic. Vietnam is also very honored to be one of 3 Asian countries participating in Korea's first COVID-19 vaccine clinical trial. A program was supported by IVI. Vietnam has received strong support for IVI in research new vaccine recently. And in the near future, we hope to become an active member of IVI, and we look forward to the support of IVI in the research development of new vaccine, technology transfer, as well as the jointly implementing the program actions initiated by IVI. Once again, congratulations to IVI with the achievement, and we wish IVI to continue the success for the next period. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. At this time, that concludes the remarks by our state parties. Next, we're gonna have our final presentation on the disease known as leptospirosis. Leptospirosis is a neglected tropical disease, very devastating, but unfortunately it is not on the WHO's list of neglected tropical diseases, and we hope that we can fix that and lead a campaign with you to address that. I'd like to invite Dr. Jerome Kim to make the remarks on leptospirosis.
All right, thank you. Unfortunately, I think we're getting a little short on time, so I'm going to go through this rather quickly. One of the things that IVI does is that we work on diseases that are often not on the list of diseases that are found in high-income countries. And to some extent, this is difficult. To a very large extent, we find it very rewarding because we know that vaccines are among the most cost-effective interventions that we have in our public health armamentarium. And so today and for this year, we'd like to highlight a disease that we think is a real problem in many countries that are represented here, but is a disease that is among the neglected of the neglected. So we have something called neglected tropical diseases, and we have diseases like leptospirosis, which despite high burden, are not on the list of neglected diseases. So leptospirosis is considered one of the most widely spread zoonotic diseases. That is, it is a disease that is transmitted to humans from animals, like so many of the other diseases that we have recent very negative experience with, but like other diseases such as HIV or others that originated in animals and have subsequently spread to humans. What is a neglected tropical disease? There's actually a definition. The World Health Organization has a list of neglected tropical diseases, 20 conditions, mainly found in tropical areas, although not exclusively, where they mostly affect more than 1 billion people who live in impoverished communities. The epidemiology of neglected diseases is complex and often related to environmental conditions and sanitation. Most of them are vector-borne. Many of them have animal reservoirs and are associated with complex life cycles. And of course, leptospirosis is not among these. There are other diseases not on the list of neglected diseases. These include very high-burden diseases like Group A streptococcus, like hepatitis E, like non-typhoidal salmonella. But we're going to focus today on leptospirosis. Why? Because we think that it is possible that if we get the disease on this list, that we will be able to get secure funding through other mechanisms that will allow us to begin to work on a safe and effective vaccine. So this is a partial map of where leptospirosis is found in the world. And you can see, billion people at risk, about 1 million cases a year estimated, and roughly only 60,000 deaths. Now, part of the reason for this is that we don't diagnose leptospirosis. So like COVID in the early days of the COVID pandemic, we didn't do testing. We didn't know where the disease was. We didn't know what people were dying of. So this is the current estimate, but there are suggestions that disease burden is a lot higher. So in India, the current global estimate is 10 to 24 cases per 100,000 population. But if you look at the field cohorts in India, that number could be substantially higher. So the case burden in India alone is 1.24 million cases, which exceeds the global estimate by more than 240,000 cases. So again, we think that the disease is probably underdiagnosed. And in fact, I've seen 2 cases of severe leptospirosis, 2 young men, one 18, one 20, both in the intensive care unit in the United States. So this is a disease that is global in distribution. It occurs everywhere. We do not diagnose it appropriately. So this goes through the life cycle. It originates in rodents. It's spread to other animals through surface water or exposure to rodent urine. Humans pick up the disease. It has some significant manifestations, the most severe of which is a severe pneumonia. And that's what the 2 young men that I saw and treated had. So during outbreaks, leptospirosis can fill hospitals. It requires very intense care. So in the US, in this hospital that I was at, these 2 young men were in the intensive care unit, receiving antibiotics, being monitored full time. Multi-organ failure and respiratory paralysis require intensive care, including mechanical ventilation. And in many places in the world, access to this kind of care is difficult at best. Leptospirosis is also a One Health problem. So again, because there is an animal component and a human component, this is one of those diseases that we always talk about, but for which action has proven to be rather difficult. It's an emerging global threat. More than 100 outbreaks annually, a 25% increase in cases in the European Union. So again, with the spread of these global diseases, we're increasingly seeing diseases that were not seen in high-income countries in those countries. And actually, I saw my 2 cases in Hawaii, which is one of the 50 states of the United States. This is the disease burden estimated for human leptospirosis. You can see the number of DALYs. 50% are men who are in the age range of 20 to 50 years, and 2.8 million years of life lost. So again, this is quite a substantial disease. You can see where it's distributed and why we think that having more and more accurate diagnostics could really improve our ability to tell where this disease is and to measure impact from vaccines or other interventions. So this gives you a better idea. These are the disability-associated life years with a disease that IVI works with, typhoid and paratyphoid. On the left-hand side, you can see some of the neglected diseases. These are diseases like schistosomiasis or cysticercosis, filariasis, rabies, yellow fever, and you can see leptospirosis is the big red box up in the corner. So this is not a disease that is very small in terms of its burden, even with incomplete estimates. There's almost no information on economic burden. So you can see there are some data available from Latin America, from Mexico, Brazil, and others. The economic estimate is 7.8 billion in Latin America. In New Zealand, 18.8 million. In the Philippines and Vietnam, 195 million. But really, the estimates are limited by our lack of knowledge about where the disease is and what burdens it puts on healthcare systems. So it's estimated based on these data that the annual cost is 56 billion based on the number of DALYs currently estimated. And so this is the disease, despite the fact that we don't diagnose it, that already has a significant disease burden. And putting it on the list of neglected diseases would allow us then to begin to explore funding to develop vaccines against the disease. So the way forward, prioritization, evidence generation, and a roadmap for control and prevention. And thank you.
Thank you very much, Jerome. As we wrap up this State Forum, I just want to provide you some housekeeping information. As we leave the State Forum, we invite those of you who are staying for the dinner, we invite you to move to the 3rd floor to the reception area. There you can pick up your badge for the dinner event, and you can also inform the waiter of your meal preference. Tonight we have beef, fish, and vegetarian options, which are available for you. If you have any questions or anything you'd like to discuss with us, please feel free to approach me or Jerome or George or Ms. Youngmi Cho here on the side, and we'll be happy to work with you. For those of you who are here live and those who are here on Zoom, we'd like to thank you very much for your participation, and we look forward to working with you in IVI. Thank you and have a good night.